Welcome, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
Are you here? There you are. Perfect. How's it going?
Really good, really good. I hope I can kick up the energy. He was pretty slow paced and quiet. So I'm hoping I can try to wake you guys up with a little bit, speed up the talking a little bit, get some more content coming at you. No, he did great. Thank you, Tyler. That was awesome.
Pretty sure nobody we have coming on today is slow paced. I'm like, let's talk as much as you can in 30 minutes and give as much value as you possibly can.
All right. So no pressure.
Right. Okay. So you are. We have you on. Well, I'm going to have you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, but we have you on to talk about talk about marketing and branding for the future. And you are like Mr. Marketing and Branding. So would love for you to share everything and anything that you can. But first, tell everybody a little bit about yourself for those of you that don't know you.
Okay, so I do have a marketing background. In college, I did communications and marketing. So I always had an interest in that. I sold data networking to Fortune 500 companies for a few years. So technology is kind of in my DNA, which is why I'm excited to be here at Keller Williams, of course. I came over to Keller Williams in 2008, and Mike Zinnicol and I have the Easy Referral Network, and we have 6 expansion offices, 159 agents on our team. What's interesting specific to branding and marketing is each one of those offices has its own brand. In the state of Ohio, they require that each one of the offices carry its own brand. So we have 6 different brands. And then I am now the interim team leader of the KW Consultants office as well. So I'm very excited about that. I've got awesome bosses. I got the best bosses in the world.
Partners, right?
Partners. Yeah, sorry.
And I don't know if you mentioned this, but you're also the #1 real estate agent in the state of Ohio. So if you didn't say that, we need to make that clear because
that's a big deal.
Yeah, what you guys have done is amazing.
Yeah, we have an amazing team, amazing staff. They work really hard. So really proud of them.
Awesome. Okay, so wow us with your marketing and branding.
Yeah, thanks. Just keep building it up. This is like some sort of hazing going on here, but that's all right. No, so branding and marketing, I'm actually really passionate about, and I think it's overlooked. A lot of times in real estate, we get in and we're like, how do you fill out a contract, and how do you lead generate, and all of those very important topics. But I think the one thing that gets missed a little bit is brand, and I think a lot of people rely on their brokerage to be the brand, and they are. Don't get me wrong, but there's 140,000 of us here at Keller Williams, for example, and everybody has their own personality and their own brand and their own, their own message that they want to convey to the consumer, and they want to work with different segments of the market. We don't all want to work with the same group of folks. Historic homeowners versus land and farm versus condo, urban, luxury. There's just a myriad of different targets that we want to market to. And so I felt like brand and marketing is something that I could bring to the table that's a little bit of a different spin or a little educational topic that, again, I'm very passionate about. There's 3 different types of way to build a business. There's the personality-based business, which is, hey, everybody just knows you, they like you, so they just work with you. There's obviously prospecting-based business, which there's a Jeff Glover out there somewhere who's #1 in Michigan, and he is prospecting-based. His focus is, cold calling. That's what Bold is all about, for example. There's marketing-based, and so that's where really you're creating such a storefront that's attracting so many people to you that you start to build a business that way. And sometimes you can pull all 3 of them together and have the perfect triad. And other times you're just going to stay in your comfort zone. So mine is marketing. And what I like about marketing is it can be applied to either one of the other 2. So if you have 3 ISAs and all you do is like cold call all day long and you're a prospecting based business, if you layer on just a little bit of marketing and branding on top of that, you can really increase your business. Or if you're a personality-based realtor, where just everybody knows who you are because you're the expert in that neighborhood and in referral-based only. Again, if you make your storefront or amplify your message through marketing and branding, your business can increase 5, 10, 20% just by doing what we can talk about here today. So that's kind of what I'll get into, if that's okay with you guys.
That's perfect. Yes, perfect.
If it's not interesting, I can talk about anything.
No, that's perfect, Greg. And I think it's amazing. When I look back on Linda and Jim and the team that they built, the reason Linda's been able to be out of her business for the last 20 years is because they were marketing based, and they built an amazing brand in their city of Denton, Texas, that has lived beyond them. And I don't think we talk enough in KW about marketing, probably because we don't have a lot of people who are doing it at a really high level. So I think it's going to be a great session for everyone to really take a lot of notes on.
Okay, perfect. Well, if I can share my screen, I don't know if you'll allow that, but if you do, I will share my screen here. Can everybody see? Okay.
Yep.
So this is so what I want to kind of hit in a very short amount of time. So I'll try to talk as fast as Tyler and see if I can't do that. I'm a pretty fast talker, so I'll be able to do that if you just give me a second. Here we go. The first thing we're going to do is understand the brand. And what is brand? Brand is more than a logo. So we're going to talk about that. The benefits of having one. Why do you even care? Why do you want to have a brand? You want to define your own personal brand. What I really love about this class that I teach, or this topic that I talk about and I believe in, is that it's all specific. Everybody can take what I'm talking about and apply it directly to themselves. It's important to understand what your broker or what your office brand is, but it's most important to understand who you are. Defining the audience. Why is your brand what it is, and how do you communicate with the audience that you're actually targeting? And then identify the ways to articulate that. What channels of communication are best specific to your brand? And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I'm only going to hit one of these, but I really like David Ogilvy. He's considered the father of advertising, and he defines brand as the intangible sum of a product's attributes. And intangible is kind of the word that I really tie into. And what you start to see here is it's a gut feeling. Marty Neumeier, a brand is a person's gut feeling about a product, service, organization. It's your gut feeling when I say NFL or Disney or Coca-Cola. There's a gut feeling, there's an emotion that's evoked. So immediately, just in this first few minutes of me speaking, I hope that you've identified that brand is not a logo, right? These are all logos, but what you're really keying in on is the emotion or the feeling you have when you look at each one of these brands. I used to work at AT&T, and at one point SBC was coming in, and it was almost laughable to think that what SBC wanted from AT&T, what they wanted was the logo, what they wanted was the brand of AT&T, and that was worth obviously millions and millions of dollars, one of the most valuable brands in the world. And their entire business is built. Look at this, about $50 billion worth of brands just on this page alone. And when you look at each one, just think of the feeling you have when you look at the McDonald's arches, or if you look at the Walmart or the GE, there's a feeling that's invoked. And when you think about it, a lot of times what you're thinking about, and unfortunately I can't do an interaction here, but what I love to do is ask people, what they feel when they feel like they look at this logo, and how do they feel?
Hey, they can type in the chat. Let them type in the chat when they see the Lego logo. How do y'all feel? Type it in the chat.
I'm sorry, this is the first time I've been on Zoom ever, so no, I'm kidding. All right, thank you for that.
You're important. There you go.
This is great. Thank you, everybody. Kyle, Lisa, everybody's like throwing it out there, but they like to build things. Christmas morning, young, nostalgic, excitement. Pain when you step on them is typically the #1 answer. So if you're on Family, Family Feud, you win. Thank you, Monica. You won that one. But what happens here is, like, look at the font. Yes, the font means something, right? The colors, everything is thought about with these experts. They get paid millions of dollars to come up with brand. This is all that many people do, is focus on brand and marketing. And when you think about it, it's kind of ironic to Press's point, the amount of time that we spend on marketing and brand and advertising, when you consider you're a realtor, and really what your job is marketing. You're hiring, someone's hiring you to market their home, so you should have an expertise when it comes to marketing, at least a baseline understanding of what you're trying to accomplish with your brand. So again, a brand is a person's gut feeling about a product, service, or organization. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to skip through some of these slides and just kind of hit on the things that are that I find to be very important for you guys to consider. But most online reviews are about the intangible versus the tangible. So if you go to Yelp, maybe as a homework assignment or just for fun, go out to Yelp or go out to any one of these places where you can read online reviews. And what you'll find, you'll immediately start to pick up on something. And so you think that you're going to get a review saying that the review isn't going to be about, I really like 360 Partners. They're really neat and wonderful. They're going to say, you know what, everything was clean. The office was put together. It's intangible. She made me feel safe. She's very patient with me. Those are how the reviews are going to go. If you go to a restaurant, they're going to say the bathrooms were dirty or they were clean. The lights were all burnt out. It felt, it's all about, you're going to see the word feeling a lot when it comes to reviews. So that is kind of like what you want to zero in on when you think about your brand. Your brand is, again, it's the sum of like, is your car clean inside? Is your office color coordinated? Does it match your logo? Does your logo match your website? The consistency of the brand. Have you even put any thought behind that? Typically when I teach this, a lot of folks are, and I hope, and you can't put this in the chat, but there's this moment of realization that they haven't spent that much time thinking about what they're trying to articulate to the community or to their client base. So it's about feelings, and feelings are complicated. I love that one. Brands are, and if you guys, by the way, Dana or Press, or if anybody has any questions for me, or if I'm going too fast or too slow, let me know. I'm just checking the clock and I want to keep things going. But
you're doing great. I'll let you know if you have any questions.
Okay, brands are about feelings, and feelings are complicated. So Lego, we went through Lego, and somebody said pain and somebody else said nostalgia. So there's a lot of happy feelings, and then there's some painful feelings. Expensive is something I hear a lot. They see Lego and they think it's expensive, and it is. I have a 9-year-old son. I promise you they're expensive. And so there's emotion. Those are all feelings that you have when you think of different restaurants or fast food restaurants like Chick-fil-A. You can pretty much guarantee if you go into a Chick-fil-A that the bathrooms are clean, right? If you go into a Burger King, you might not have that same experience. And believe it or not, in my head, that's what I think. I travel a lot, so you can tell where I go about. Anyway, sorry about that. But their brand is based on the cleanliness of the facilities. So is your office clean? Is your desk clean? Let's take it to social media. Are the videos that you produce of a high enough quality to suggest that you are a luxury realtor, right? If you're just doing are you spending the money and the time to get the production quality that you need to prove yourself in that arena? That's part of your brand. Why does it matter that you have a strong brand? It's going to give you stronger return on your investment. So if as you invest all this time and effort into building a great business, if you're able to establish a flag for the castle or the logo, the brand, you're going to have better return, meaning more referrals back to you. You're establishing a beachhead. You're establishing, your fortress. You're fortifying your business by having a strong brand. You're going to have aligned leadership. Everybody's going to know what your mission vision is. And believe it or not, it's going to be based around how you carry yourself. So if I wear a suit every day, the people around me will probably start to wear, probably not going to wear their sweatsuit and, into work, and for example. So it aligns your leadership because again, your brand is not just the logo, it's everything that you do. Quite frankly, it's the way you have your Zoom. This is my number one thing when I look at, and I'm not judging because I can't see any of you, but on a Zoom call, if you'll notice, I have lighting, I have a suit, I have the background is there's a reason that I chose this environment for my Zoom call. A lot of people are just throwing down a phone and you're looking at their ceiling and up their nose and the lighting's horrible. And they're suggesting that their brand doesn't matter, in my opinion, right? It does matter. I think if we all see like Dana and Press, these guys, they're always set up perfectly centered. They're not too close, not too far away. Everything that you do does in fact matter when you're trying to define what your brand is. And by the way, if you don't define what your brand is, your competitors will define what your brand is. And I promise you do not want that.
That's one of the biggest, not to interrupt you, Greg, I apologize.
Please do.
I was just going to say, the first time I heard you teach this, that was one of my very largest ahas was that exact. If you don't define your brand, your competitors will. And that's very true.
Yeah, like, oh, they don't do luxury. Okay, well, you've just defined what I do and I don't do. And because I didn't, you have the right to do that. There's no argument here because I'm not working on my own brand. I haven't actually worked on that. So it also, what I love too, is it gives specific meaning, value, tailored for the employees and recruits. So it's going to attract, your brand is going to attract not just the consumer base that you're probably going to work with or want to work with, aka maybe luxury, it might be downtown condos, urban, might be farmland, might be historic homes, but it'll also attract the folks that you want to partner with as you grow a large real estate team, for example, if you are growing a team, or your administrative staff, or you're going to magnetize to the people that appreciate that brand. So somebody that drives a Prius is not the same person that drives a BMW. Those are two different human beings. And I promise you that those brands know exactly who they're going after. In fact, why does Ford have a multiple line of different cars? It's because each one of those cars says something different. And the car you drive is a reflection of your brand, depending on and your finances. So, I mean, obviously, but really I wouldn't even say it's finances. I would say you have the ability pretty much to drive any car, any type of brand that would reflect you and what you're trying to articulate to the world about who and what you are. So let me bounce this on. I love these. I think these are fun. I'm not going to hit each one, but these are actual ads that realtors have put out there. I just think they're funny. But what's interesting is they're grabbing attention. Now it's probably to the detriment of their sophistication. Their brand is not actually, I'm not sure he's going to pick up a, $4 million lakefront or anything like that. However, I bet you he gets a lot of people, and he probably has a lot of fun in his job. I bet you he gets clientele and people that join his team, or they all just stay away from him and think he's a crazy guy. See, I think that's a pretty risky ad right there. I probably wouldn't go that route. However, I do give him props and credit for going down that route. This is just kind of creepy. And in my smaller classrooms, it's a lot of fun when I throw these up here because we can all laugh.
Robert said wolf in sheep's clothing with the lamb guy. That's what he thought of, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, and that's true. When you create your brand, that what's interesting is so he's introducing all the people that are like kind of funny and silly, but he's alienating a lot of people as well. And I think you can kind of see how that there's a lot of people that would see that and just be like, I would never work with that guy. So you got to be careful that you have a holistic brand that can really attract a broad scope. Don't get so specific that you miss out on opportunities that might otherwise be there. When I use this photo, I like to ask people, what they see and which realtor. It's kind of interesting. They both have their brothers, and I think a lot of you guys know who they are, but they do represent sort of a different energy, right? And
that would be fun, Greg. Have them type in the chat what you do in your normal class. Which one would they use?
Yeah, the guy on the left or the guy on the right. We'll say left or right. Just type in L or R, and it'll just be who would you work with, and and immediately thank you guys for doing that. It's kind of fun. It's really back and forth, and what's happening is you've got sophisticated and you've got fun. Some people might say, well, he's so open stance and everything that he might come across pretentious, but also to other people he might come across much more confident. So it really just depends on who you are and the opportunities there. But in both cases, they're very well dressed. They're very on point. And in fact, I have not seen anyone. I did see somebody say either, so that was not. Yeah, somebody said both, but I haven't seen too many people say neither, not either one of them, because they both are carrying their own brand strong enough to where I wouldn't reject either one of them if they walked into my kitchen table and said, I wanted to list your house. And I think that's where we want to go with our brands, is to be sophisticated enough to where we can, where the majority of the people that we're hitting in real estate would be willing to work with us. Whereas that one guy with the lamb, he's a little bit off point, I think. This brand right here, just what I wanted to showcase in this one slide, and I'll skip past it real quick, actually in this slide and the other slides, is what I'm saying is he has a brand here and it has absolutely nothing to do with a logo. Okay. There's nothing here but it is his brand. And I want you to consider that next time you get dressed and go on a listing appointment. Okay. I want you to articulate your brand in your social media posts, right? He didn't just take a selfie. He had a professional photographer take that. All of his posts that are online, social media and stuff, are all on point because his photography. And quite frankly, if you want a great example, I found this one really cool realtor that I met a long time ago, and her name's Dana, and she's like, look at this. It's so like,
cards. Aw.
It's like so classy and on point. I mean, she's sitting there. I mean, she's honestly, it's a great brand that Dana carries. And just some other things I was trying to point out on social media, that everything you do does matter when it comes to brand, because once you start to, once you, like, your smile is part of your brand, because you may not smile. That might not be your brand. You might be analytical numbers. We've got a couple folks in this office. I know that their focus is going to be based around confidence in their statistical analyses of things. And right, so that's its own brand, and that should not necessarily have a smile along with it. That's a different brand. So be genuine and honest with what you really are. Your attitude, your appearance, application, and are you approachable? You all want to be approachable, of course, in real estate. If somebody's scared to contact you, that's a problem. So let me look at some of these, see if there's any messages or instant messages.
Yeah, there has been a couple of questions. So actually, I've been trying to keep up with them. So one is, any tips that you would give for branding a mega team? Any just general tips or advice was the first one.
So I've never done that before. No, I'm kidding. On a mega team, meaning like, so you want to brand the entire holistic team as you grow one, or if you already have one. If you already have one, you should generally have a group of attributes that you can already rely on to create that brand. If you're trying to create one, you want to start with the end in mind. I just came up with that. I'm kidding, that's a Kellerism, but start with the end in mind, and write down what your benefits and value proposition is to the homeowner, and that usually helps you build the brand for the mega team. When you say mega team versus small team, I don't think there's really any variation in that, other than if you have a lot more people, then you'll have a lot more personalities, and you'll want to make sure they can all fit inside the box you're creating. So make sure it's a big box where people can kind of move different ways. You may even want to splice out your brand. So if you want to do luxury, so we're called the easy sales team, for example. Well, that name is way too kitschy for a $2 million property. A $2 million property does not want to put easy sales team in their front yard. However, they will put signature collection. And that's the purple, like, right, I'm even wearing my signature collection shirt and stuff. It's a plum color. It's a separate brand that we've created to let the 750 in Cleveland, 750 and above homeowners know that they are special, that they are in the VIP room, that they deserve something different than the rest of the market, right? And that's pretty much how luxury works. So that's sort of a different conversation, but you can make sure that your brand is big enough so that you can fit different segments inside it. I hope that answers that
like
question.
A brand within a brand kind of type thing.
Yes, a brand within the brand. And each agent in the brand, I recommend that you allow them to, obviously, because every realtor is a different human being, and they'll have their own energy and their own values and their own brand. Like, help them build their own, help them build themselves within your brand. Now, that's a personal opinion. I always, if you do that, they'll be more apt to carry the flag of the team. And again, that team needs to carry the flag of their brokerage. So it's each one of those has its own value set, and it has its own. So when I think of Keller Williams, I think of technology, I think of global, I think of just, it's its own powerful brand, very powerful. Then I think of, I'll pick an office. I'll think of KW Consultants here in Dublin. This brand is like team oriented. It has lots of teams. It's a lot of high-end agents. It's got a very strong brand within the Central Ohio area. And then I think of my own personal brand. Me personally, I define my brand, and this is your guys' homework assignment. Talk to 10 of your clients, family members, and friends, and ask them what your brand is. Do not tell them what you think it is. Have them tell you what it is. And write down, and the most repetitive word, my friends, is what your brand is. So for me, it's high energy and passion. That's what just people tell me it is. I actually didn't realize that. I don't think Tyler realized how fast and how powerful and how exciting he was. But that would be part of who he is. High energy, very passionate, very excited. And that's not negative. That's a positive, but it's genuine. And you do want to be genuine to your brand. So brand has to be on.
We go back to the last one just really quickly. I was going to encourage everyone, just take a screenshot of that. I'm hoping we'll be able to send out all of these slides, and I will intend to do the very best to get them to you guys. But this would be one you would want to take a screenshot of, though. or a picture with your phone so that you can remember this one. And then really quickly, I wanted you to answer this question because we get this a lot. There's two actually. What is your advice to a solo agent who may want to market themselves as a group or team or something similar to prepare and have consistent marketing, or should they wait until they actually have people on their team?
You have a team. If you're in a brokerage, you have a broker. If you have a team leader, you have an MCA, you have a front. Fake it till you make it. That's exactly what I did. I highly recommend that. There is absolutely no reason that you don't have a group or a team. And I don't believe most offices or anybody's going to care that you do this on your website. When you go to the meet the team, put them all there, right? Put your MCA, put your team leader, put your broker, and then write a little descriptor about what your broker brings to the table as far as value for the homeowners.
Yeah. I think, because think about that too. If you have a lender that you like to use or a title company or whoever, those are all your team. And then last question, Greg, and if you need to hit any more of those, but do you have any suggestions on companies to help create a brand? They can be very expensive. I mean, I'm saying anonymous, so sorry, I can't say who you are, but they contacted a company yesterday that was 30 grand. I know I have a list of some somewhere. I can try to drudge those up.
I think I understand the question, but I'm going to answer it a little bit differently. It might be a little annoying because I think I know what they want the answer to be, but your brand is the outfit you wore today. It's how clean your car is. I'm really trying to hammer that because I think a lot of people think, well, I'm going to pay a marketing firm $30,000 to do this. And one of our success stories, and I know Gary Keller even appreciates our P&L because we keep our expenses very low. There's so many things that you can do on your own. And it's just being aware of what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're a solo agent, if you are a large mega team, it really doesn't change at all. What are you communicating? What channels are you using? If you want high-end luxury, get on LinkedIn, get off of Snapchat. That's not going to help you any. Right? If you're a first-time home buyer focused, then get on Instagram and enjoy it. Have fun with it. Use your stories, etc. But I highly recommend you just try to do it yourself a little bit. Read some marketing books and focus on self-teaching, and then move to that next level where you're hiring somebody to really make it more sophisticated. Fiverr is a great resource, obviously, if all you're looking for is a logo. But please, when you make the order, you ask them to please tell them what you're trying to get to. Say you're very bold, sophisticated, because the font, they're not going to use Comic Sans if you're trying to be a very, as far as the font, they're going to use a different font to articulate who you are. So you got to articulate to them, and you got to find out what your brand is first, which means you got to talk to 10 of your clients, et cetera, and you can kind of build from there. That's as quick as I can answer that question. Sorry.
That was great.
Now I know why Tyler was talking so fast.
And they didn't know they were going to get like a slash comedy routine with you today either. So this has been great.
Sorry.
Thank you, Greg, so much. I'm going to get your slides and then we'll share those if that's cool with you.
Sure,
and
always. For
sure. You guys have value. Will you all tell Greg thank you in the chat for his time today? That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys.